DVORAK. She's an award-winning National Security Border Security investigative reporter for TV, radio, and the print media. She is also Senior Foreign Policy Advisor for the Committee for Responsible Foreign Policy. She's a TV correspondent, CW6 News San Diego, as well as One America News Network, and her website is thekdreport.com. thekdreport.com. Kimberly, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm looking forward to today's segment.
Well, I don't know. Do I have to give them a disclaimer if you say anything that I disagree with? Because, I wash my face. Oh, that's Facebook. Okay, never mind. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, of course, since Friday,
ridiculous, isn't it?
a lot ridiculous, actually. And over the weekend, other journalists out there have decided to dig into the story and kind of look in to see if this Hunter Biden story is nonsense or if there are facts out there that corroborate what's been printed by the New York Post, which, by the way, the fourth largest publication in the country, and have a hard time believing that they're going to have their legal team allow them to put anything out there that is not true, because in light of the Sandman, the high school student who was chastised as most of your listeners who are well versed in this know, he was chastised by the Democrats, by the Washington Post. He was a high school student, simply, sitting at the National Mall in front of the Abraham Lincoln Memorial. So in any event, he's won multi-million-dollar lawsuits as a result of that. So the Post, being very cognizant of that, would have to look at this to make sure that this was accurate. And indeed, when you go back...
One other thing.
Yeah.
One other thing, if I can jump in, the Post, as I understand, they've been around for a little while, haven't they? Weren't they like maybe the fourth oldest newspaper, if not the first, in the United States?
Yeah, they're one of the oldest news outlets in the country as well. They actually are a little bit fair. They tend to lean left, I will say, but they at least provide a much more fair picture as to what's going on. Yeah. So very trustworthy publication. That's why seeing all these people try to I guess the word smear Hunter Biden is actually they're trying to smear the Post as well as the computer repair guy who actually was the one that recovered this. Now, going back to figure out how this all started and how this computer gate, so to speak, came up is Hunter Biden had 3 computers that he took to the computer store. He said they had some sort of water damage to all 3 laptops. One of them, the repairman, in this case, the name of the repairman is John Paul Isaac. I don't want to necessarily talk about his last name all that much, but it is Isaac, so viewers can go out and look at it. He took all of the computers in. He did his forensics, said one of them was beyond repair. They couldn't do it. One was salvageable. They didn't need to do too much. And the third, they could recover the hard drive. They just needed an external hard drive from Hunter Biden so they could transfer all the information and they could go on their merry way. The computer repair guy happens to be a Vietnam War veteran. He flew gunships. He's a very well-respected member of the military and retired as a colonel in the Air Force. Hardly somebody that's going to make up, facts about something of this nature. But he's also in charge of, going back and taking all of these memories from that horrific war and, and trying to, save this information so, hundreds of years from now they can look back and they'll have an honest accounting of it. So this is the guy that actually got the information. So he writes up his invoice, moving forward back to Biden, moves forward, he sends the invoice, tells Hunter to come collect it, doesn't hear from him, makes multiple attempts. 4 months pass. And in the state of Delaware, after 3 months, if you don't pay your bill, then whatever property that you have in your possession, whether it's a TV or anything else, becomes the owner's property, because now he's got to pay for the work that he did not get collected. So he takes the information, he stores it, makes last-ditch efforts to reach him. Nobody comes for it. when he was recovering a lot of this stuff, he did see a lot of photos, a lot of emails, a lot of text, things that were very suspicious. But being the honest person that he is, he kept it to himself. He didn't say anything until the Burisma story came up, and it looked like Hunter was working with the Ukrainians, and they were trying to figure out how to, get paid for, work that, who knows what kind of experience Hunter Biden had. And as a result of that, the colonel from the Air Force decided that he was going to take the computer and its contents to the FBI, which he did. And the FBI, because they were in the middle of impeachment at that time, told the colonel to go take a flying leap. Get out of here. We don't care. Who cares? Give it back, throw it in the trash. We don't care. And then he has a look at the information again, and a couple of weeks later, he's, some FBI agents from the, Delaware office, Wilmington, came out to his shop and actually took the computer. So now it's in FBI custody. They have it. And they also gave him a subpoena to testify for a grand jury hearing, to which he didn't even know what the grand jury hearing was going to be all about. And so far, there's been nothing. So the FBI has been silent on this, which goes.
Kimberly,
yeah.
At that point, let me genuflect in here just for one thing about the FBI. Selwyn Duke, one of my frequent guests, wrote a little short story, came out over the weekend, talking about the FBI and in relationship to what we are talking about and you're talking about. And think about J. Edgar Hoover.
Yeah.
And how, he had his dirty list and that kept him in power forever.
Yep.
And Selwyn was leaning on the thing about, maybe the FBI likes what they've got because now they've got the goods on Biden.
Yeah.
All right. And here's the other thing. Remember on the debates whenever Biden was saying, well, Hunter, he's all clear now. He had a drug habit, but he's all clear. Well, these new tapes show that he wasn't clear either. A couple of pictures there with a little pipe up his nose.
Yeah. And there's also, they said that there's also pictures of, him sexually compromised, and we don't even know what it is. We can only gander in the time of Epstein as to what it could be. But those are photos that, of course, make this a national security risk and make him, if president, if Biden was to become president, now he's got his son that's going to be compromised. And, we've also seen over the weekend where everybody's like, trust me, China has this, Russia has this. And, this is a gold mine. And you're absolutely right. Exactly like the Edgar Hoover situation. They want this information so they can control these people to do whatever it is. And by the grace of God, this is coming out now.
Of course, so if Adam Schiff is right, forget about it, FBI, because the Russians are the ones that are doing this.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, and then we had DNI director come out over the weekend also and say, look, this was not this is not Russian propaganda. As much as the left would like to say that, and he also made the comment that those who can cry afoul about the politicization of the intel community the most, i.e. Adam Schiff, are probably guilty of partaking in that type of behavior. So to date, we still have heard nothing from the FBI on this, and they have this laptop in question.
Boy, I'll tell you something. When you think about all of the accusations, okay, like for example, that Trump did this and Trump did that and Trump did this. It's like, when you look at the impeachment and about the phone call that Trump was on, and everybody listened to it, no problem. Maybe he forgot to deposit his quarter, on the phone call. But when you look at all of this going on, Hillary's emails, for example, and the Russian collusion with her paying Russia to try to overthrow our president.
Yeah, the bleach bit on that.
I can't believe the hypocrisy in America that's going on right now.
Well, let's just say it this way.
Is that far out of control, Kimberly?
Yeah, but let's just say the hypocrisy in America. The hypocrisy in America is from the political parties and is from the media, the elite media. not all media. We're talking about it. Hopefully I won't get a knock at the door here a little bit later, but some media is covering it, but they're drowned out by these elite media that want their guy in so they can head over to the White House and hang out with the president of their choice and talk about it at their cocktail parties. That's all they're interested in, DC. It's amazing. I moved back here a little while ago, and I see what goes on out here, and it's shocking. It's shocking to think that nothing is going to change in this country because the majority of the people that live inside the Beltway don't want change. And the Republicans could really even care less about being in power themselves. They just want to be the party of the minority, it seems like, because that's where they're comfortable. And it just, to me, is just the whole thing stinks to high heaven. And when you leave the Beltway and you travel outside the Beltway, there are Trump-Pence signs everywhere and very few Biden signs. So, I mean, to look at this election and see on the TV that 30,000 people went to the Trump parade, cars went to a Trump parade in Miami over the weekend. Where are the people doing that for Biden? They're just not there.
I know. Hey, listen, I saw Facebook from some relatives out in West Texas and southeastern New Mexico, and some small towns, population 3,000, maybe the big town was 8,000, and I mean, it was cars lined up like you wouldn't believe. New Mexico, which is a Democratic state,
yeah,
basically, but here's the thing with these debates, all right? Then we got Christine Welker coming up, on the one that they're going to do next. It's like for some reason, the moderators, they get 5 wild cards, and you have to play the cards you get with nothing wild.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the deck is stacked against Trump on these debates.
Yeah. Well,
But I hear...
Yeah,
let me ask you real quick. Did you hear that he's going to go in and act like a nice little puppy on this last one?
He's most likely...
you want to say, go ahead.
Yeah, this is what I'm going to say. I think that Trump will definitely not be as aggressive in this. He'll be calm. But every time there's a question talking about something that's not necessarily important, like, well, we need to worry about climate change today because the planet will be gone tomorrow, Trump will say, while that might be a valid point to discuss in the future, what I'd like to talk about is Hunter Biden. Has anybody checked out the emails and the people he's been working with and the new emails that have nothing to do with the posts that are coming out about the China emails that he's been working back at? Every single question the president's going to be asked, you watch, he will go back to this well and answer that question over and over and over. So everyone in America is forced to go out and actually do a little research and find out what the real truth is.
But Christine Welker, her and her family, boy, they are die-hard Democrats. Money pouring in, the most money went in to the Obamas, and then she paid a lot of money supporting Hillary when she was running for president.
Yeah.
Why in the world do the Republicans, well, okay, we'll have Chris Waller.
Yeah, Democrat over on Fox now.
Great move, yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but the president does a good job of taking his message directly to the people. He'll do it again at this debate. We'll see that. But it's also interesting to see when the people asking the questions, they are all Democrats, and they ask these questions that are so ridiculous. The American people turned off the TV, basically, in the 2016 election. And watch out, they're doing the same thing here. And there's only a small number of people who haven't made up their mind. And after this whole Biden thing goes through with Hunter and the emails and the money exchanging hands and things of that, and to see the full extent of all of this investigation as it unfolds, that's a story that people don't want to see that in their president.
What worries this announcer, Miss Dvorak, is that Christine Welker is good friends with Donna Brazile.
Yeah.
And we'll have the questions.
We have to assume that Joe Biden will have the questions. There's just no doubt. There's no doubt he's taking 5 days to prep. So God bless him for taking the time off the campaign trail. Apparently he thinks he can do that. But I'm going to make one last point about this. We did not hear... Biden was the vice president to Barack Obama. Barack Obama has never gone out and said full-throatedly, I am for Biden. He's the best guy for the job. He's going to do a good job. He hasn't even had a campaign event. I believe on Wednesday he's going to actually have his first co-campaign event with Biden. But he hasn't been on the campaign trail, and he wasn't. It did not endorse the vice president. And you got to think that they knew that these emails, and they knew the deals with Burisma, and they knew what was going on with China was going to come back and haunt him. So congratulations to Barack Obama for staying silent and saying, I'm not going to put my name to that, because that is not what I want my name tied to, which is exactly what it would have happened had this whole thing paled out and he was his biggest cheerleader. He hasn't. And if he was.
Very obvious when you had those 14 Democrats or 24, whatever it was, running for president.
Yeah.
And Obama never once said, well, let's go with my buddy Biden.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be back. Kimberly Dvorak, D-V-O-R-A-K, and you can go to the kdreport.com and see this report later. That's right. She streams it on periscope.com, Facebook. This lady is everywhere. But right now, the where just happens to be right here with me, and we shall continue. CRN Chuck Wilder with Kimberly Dvorak, D-V-O-R-A-K, the kdreport.com. And let you wrap it up in just a moment, but the whole thing is Facebook, Twitter, private companies, you don't have as much control, and I don't know. I don't know if it's going to change or not. I just hope we never get to the equal clause again, where, used to be in radio.
Yeah.
Anytime you said something about one guy, you had to bring his everybody running against him in.
Yeah. You know what, Chuck? I'd like to kind of finish with the words of John Paul Isaac, his email that he sent out, and what he said about this situation, because I think it's very compelling, and it's in his own words. This is what he said. As I read deeper into this drive, I started to realize what I was sitting on and who was involved and at what level. I figured the safest thing to do was to reach out to the FBI and have them collect the drive and the Mac so I could wash my hands, and they would be able to offer some level of protection should someone come looking for it or come after me because I had it. The FBI did show up, and over the next few days contacted me to access the drive because their tech guys didn't know Macs. That threw up a red flag. I mean, come on, the FBI doesn't have to operate Macintosh computers. Give me a break. They also said nothing ever happens to people who talk about this stuff, so that got me a little concerned. There's some very incriminating videos on this drive, and I live in the hometown of the Bidens. So this guy, who obviously was a veteran, served his country and all this, as he saw nothing was happening, I mean, he did this, went by the book on this, and gave this to the FBI. And why people, why there are so many good people, rank and file, that work on this stuff, but why there are so many people willing to cover the basis for whatever politician that may be. The New York Times and Twitter and Facebook had no trouble showing hacked accounting of President Trump's taxes. Russiagate, the whole reporting.
Well, they also and Twitter banned Trump because he's talking about there's voter fraud.
Yeah.
There's no such thing. It's never been proven.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So in any event, you see this in this man's words. He, was trying to do the right thing, and is trying to do the right thing, and he hopes that at least now that the story will get out, people will start talking about it, and that the media, in more general, will start doing the reporting. And if they can prove the story wrong, let them prove the story wrong. So far, they're just denying and saying it's smearing. They're not proving the story wrong, because when you look at the facts of this is actually correct. And it's going to be really, really sad to see that, the Biden family be dragged through the mud if they continue to deny this. But they have not come out at all and said this is not true. They haven't. They haven't denied it.
Yeah, absolutely. In the 30 seconds that we got left here, Kimberly, for you, think of the time that maybe the Republicans wouldn't release something because they didn't want anyone to know about it. That Fox buried it, or somebody else buried it, or One American News. Can't think of one right offhand, but boy, it's easy to think about what they try to hide from the fake news, what they try to hide.
Absolutely.
Appreciate the report. Excellent, Kimberly, and looking forward to the next one, and should be a blockbuster. You know, we're gonna already have that debate.
2 weeks
and
away.
other things going on.
2 weeks to D-Day.
Oh yeah. Thank you very much. Remember, listener, you spell it DVORAK, and you can go to thekdreport.com and sign up for all of her great reports, not just on what we're doing here, but all the other things she does. Oh, she's a busy lady. All right, we'll be right back.